Welcome to Everything Diminished. In this lesson, we're going to complete our studies in diminished harmony. The last chord that we need to learn is our diminished seventh chord. Now, our diminished seventh chord is if you take a dominant seventh chord and take any root up a half step, it becomes a diminished seventh chord. So, likewise, if you have a diminished seventh chord and you take any root, move it down a half step, it becomes a dominant seventh chord. So your chord tones are going to be root, flat 3, flat 5, and double flat 7. So I'm going to show you a few examples. So on the 6th string, if you have a dominant 7th chord here, move it up a half step, that's a full diminished 7th chord. You can play it like this too if you want. On the 5th string, that would be a D7. Here's a D sharp diminished 7. I just moved a root up. On the 4th string, that would be a G7, move it up. Now the cool thing about this chord is it's all minor thirds, so it's symmetrical, again. So this chord could be called by the root of any single one of these. So that you can move this chord up a minor third or down a minor third, anywhere around the neck, and you get the same sounds. You get this. Alright, so that was our diminished 7th chord. Now, our diminished 7th chord is built, again, all minor thirds, and it's great coming off a 4 chord. So again, if your 4 chord was G, G sharp diminished, sounds great. And I'll show you an example of how to use this. It's not really always just in a jazz scenario. There are a lot of country songs and blues songs that use these, and it really just makes the song, it gives it a lot of color. It makes it really great. So what do you play over this? We have a dominant diminished scale. So it's still a dominant chord, but it's diminished in nature. So we have a root, a flat 2, a flat 3, a 3, a flat 5, a 5, a 6, and a flat 7. And you would use these, again, over a diminished 7, or you can also use it over an altered dominant 7, because you notice all those altered notes. You don't have the flat 6, but everything else in the altered chord you have. So you can throw that in there, and it gives it its own little full diminished sound. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you the 5 patterns of the scale, and then we're going to practice improvising using this chord shape. So here we go. These are all 5 patterns of your dominant diminished symmetrical scale. So we're going to start with pattern 1 in D. Pattern 2. Pattern 3. Pattern 4. And last, pattern 5. Okay, so that was all 5 patterns of the dominant diminished scale. What we're going to do now is we're going to improvise over progression. The progression I have is A major, then I have C sharp 7, D major, and then D sharp diminished 7. Okay, so that's a 1 major, that's a 3 dominant, 4 major, and then a sharp 4 diminished 7. So what you're going to do here is once you get to that D sharp diminished 7, this is when you play that dominant diminished scale. Now, over the A, obviously you play some A major or whatever. Over the C sharp diminished, you have a couple options like we've spoken about. You can play the C sharp mixolydian, you can mess around with that because it's non-functioning. Over the D, you could play a Lydian, it makes sense. And then obviously we're going to do the dominant diminished chord over top of the D sharp diminished. And it has a very, very cool sound. So I'm going to play it for a little bit, and then I want you to post a video. You can use the same progression or a similar progression where you're utilizing this full diminished 7th chord and you're playing the dominant diminished scale over it. So here we go, and good luck. Okay, so what I want to see you do is post a video playing over a similar progression. It can be the same one, but as long as it has a diminished 7th chord in that, and over top of that chord, I want to see you play the dominant diminished scale and really take advantage of that minor third, minor third, minor third feel to it, that symmetrical feel to it. Good luck.